Hey, what is going on everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the vlog. Hope everyone is having an awesome day. We are back with some Corvette and General Motors plant updates. It seems like I'm making these videos every couple of weeks, and again today is another announcement of the Bowling Green assembly plant being shut down next week, March 20th. Two real quick things to get out of the way in the intro. I do have a little bit of a cold, so my voice is going to be cracking up in this video, so I do apologize, but I wanted to do the best job I could getting this information out there for all of Corvette Squad to have right as soon as it's dropping. Additionally, if you are stopping by for the first time, please consider hitting the subscribe button, hitting the thumbs up button. Be sure to share this video with all of your friends and close Corvette enthusiasts. And leave a comment down below on what your thoughts are on another plant shutdown, not only for the Corvette, but we'll cover some other General Motors plant shutdowns and deliberate inventory throttling by General Motors on some of their vehicles. So right off the bat, Bowling Green assembly plant is shut down next week for an unspecified parts shortage. They haven't clarified what parts are in shortage, but they have shut down production for the entirety of the plant. General Motors spokesperson Dan Flores issued a statement saying our supply chain, manufacturing, and engineering teams are working closely with our supply base to mitigate any further impacts on production to meet the strong demands for our product. They have said that they expect to resume normal production on Monday, March 27th, so that means that the entirety of next week, Monday to Friday, Bowling Green assembly plant will be shut down. This is unfortunate. We've already seen a plant closure last month towards the end of the month, so this being in the middle of the month is a very short window for another closure. But this speaks to the ever-growing and ongoing conditions of the current production marketplace and part supply issues that many manufacturers are in fact dealing with. So when they have shortages, stuff like this happens, and we've noticed this kind of stuff happening over the last 2 full years. But it's important to be mindful that if you did have a production date for next week, expect to be pushed back, expect production dates afterwards to kind of cascade into place as General Motors does their usual in managing this supplier shortage issue. Next up, we have another plant closure that's been ongoing, but I think it's important to specify some of the plant situation for other vehicles in General Motors lineup. The Sinaloa plant in Mexico is shut down, which produces Silverados and Sierras for the US and Canadian marketplace. That plant had been shut down last week actually, and was expected to resume production starting this week, but it seems that they have continued the shutdown this week and now expect to have the plant operational again starting next week. And so fingers crossed Corvette plants don't stay shut down for an additional week after the expected shutdown like this plant in Mexico unfortunately had to do. Both of these closures are tied to part shortages. That's the official answer that we're getting from General Motors. But the more important and more interesting shutdown is the Fort Wayne plant shutdown by General Motors. And this is the first time we're seeing a manufacturer come out and communicate this. So kudos to General Motors for their transparency, but they are shutting down the Fort Wayne plant to maintain and manage optimal inventory levels. The company has scheduled a 2-week shutdown for their Fort Wayne, Indiana plant, which builds the Silverado 1500 and the Sierra 1500 for US and Canadian marketplaces. They're doing this to maintain optimal inventory levels. So this one is not attributed to part shortages. This is due to the fact that production has been consistent now for the last few months, and that's leading to an increase in inventory. And historically, General Motors has done rebates to try to move product and move vehicles, but in this case, we're seeing for the first time, at least I am, that General Motors is shutting down production to try to squeeze the amount of supply to match up with the demand to kind of keep this squeeze in effect. The Fort Wayne plant produces about 1,300 pickup trucks each day, and so if 1,300 aren't selling, naturally the inventory is building up, and so General Motors, as a part of their quote strategy, is shutting down the plant for 2 weeks, last week and this week, so production is expected to resume on March 27th. Some additional parts of the memo around the Fort Wayne plant shutdown: General Motors says that demand has been consistent, has not dropped, but naturally the production count increasing has created this oversupply that they're trying to manage. And honestly, with interest levels where they are, I can't imagine dealerships want to floor plan a bunch of excessive inventory that they don't have the demand to sell. And the last little tidbit, and again I apologize that my voice sounds like it's coming out of a elevator shaft. My throat really does feel like it has a rock in it and it's on fire, but I will push my way through it. The last bit of information that we have is coming from Rick Conti himself, and that is that the last projected date for the Z06 ordering is April 4th for sold entries, and so sold entries will end on April 5th, but oddly enough it does not prevent entry for dealer stock orders, so there's a lot of analysis that can be made on this, but for now I will refrain my thoughts until additional information from General Motors around this Z06 ordering situation comes to light. Again, I can't stress enough that I've been a part of a lot of high demand vehicle launches, and by far the Z06 launch has probably been one of the worst that I've had the misfortune of being a part of. Between all the price gouging, between all the dealer markups, between all the bad dealerships that are getting excessive allocation. But this is not a rant video, this is an informative video, so I will stick to what facts we have around plant closures and Z06 ordering and allocation updates that have been made public. I think by stopping the entry of Z06 sold orders, as long as they aren't taking Z06 dealer stock orders over the pending sold orders, I don't see an issue with this. I think General Motors is doing their best to manage expectations against the underwhelming delivery metrics of how many Z06s they've actually been able to produce for a host of different reasons that we won't get into today's video, but hopefully in a future video General Motors is a little bit more transparent on what to expect for its future Z06 production. So that's all the information that I have for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a big old thumbs up. Leave a comment down below on your thoughts on today's updates and news, and this new plant closure for Bowling Green coming fresh off the heels of a closure in February. So again, thanks everyone for stopping by, and until the very next video, I look forward to seeing all of you in the comment section below.